Here we are, week three of From Premise to Published, or off the cuff writing advice. And I'm going to discuss a really important topic this week. It's one of the biggest issues a lot of writers have, one of their biggest barriers to getting their writing done. It's not having the time or energy to write, which, if you're a writer, especially with big ambitions, that's an issue.
No fluff writing advice. Cut the fluff.
So I will say I'll drop the word count at the end, but I actually had a pretty productive week this week. So the only reason I had extra time to write this week was because we had a public holiday here in Australia. So I managed to carve out a bit of free time in the afternoon. Or, well, I planned to carve out some time in the afternoon, but it ended up spilling out into the night. And I don't think I got to bed till nearly 1 a.m. that night. And yeah, I was pretty wrecked for the rest of the week. So not ideal. Now, I mentioned this in a previous video, but I haven't written anything for myself since 2021. That was the last time I felt like I actually had the time or energy to write. It was right after uni. I had a little bit of a gap between finishing uni and getting a full-time workload. And I think I had maybe 2 months there where I was building my freelance writing business. I had time to write. I was like, I'd been so busy with uni that I almost couldn't slow down. I was trying to learn Spanish at one point and learn to play the keyboard. I had so many things going on. And then like 2, 3 months later, and I had a full-time workload and like all that just went away. No time to write, no time for all these other hobbies, these interests that I was getting into. And it's been like that for the last 4 years. And the problem was why I'm writing this book right now when I still don't have the time is nothing was changing and it doesn't look like it will anytime soon. So it's like, what do? I'm not gonna not write when I'm spending all of my time and energy during the week writing and editing other people's books. So one of the reasons I don't have a lot of time, and it's a big reason for many other people as well, is I've got kids. In 2022, our youngest came along, and the plan was always my wife would take time off work, obviously to have the baby, look after him for a certain amount of time. I would work as much as I could. And then once she went back to work, I thought we'd be able to carve out maybe a day a week that I could spend on my own writing. But as I'm sure you know, in many countries, if not all countries, I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world, but in Australia at least, and I think many Western countries at least, at about that time, cost of living skyrocketed. So the goalposts kept moving further and further away. And we got to the point now where we're both working full time and we're no closer to carving out that day off for writing. So I just have to make it happen one way or another. It's an issue with modern life. If you want more time, you have to buy it. If you can't buy it, you need to, I don't know, sacrifice sleep. Did have one great idea. It was actually from my friend Tom. Shout out to Tom. He was telling me about a documentary he watched. It was a writer who was writing a book on, I think it was going to be based in a prison. So he went to a prison, spent some time there. He didn't get locked up or anything. It wasn't like a prison break situation, but he spent some time in a prison talking to prisoners and prison guards. When he was talking to the prisoners, and I'm probably butchering this because I haven't actually seen this documentary, but I think the gist was he realized a lot of them were really well spoken, well educated. They were great storytellers. It's like, what are all these like brilliant people doing behind bars? It's like, and he dug a bit deeper, and apparently because they'd spent so much time behind bars and had so much free time, they were just reading books all day, learning and expanding their vocabulary and their knowledge and everything else. So what I'm saying is, if worse comes to worse, I could always commit a prisonable offense, get myself locked away for a few months and get the book done that way. Now, there are some downsides to being locked up in prison, but I mean, modern life on the outside kind of feels like a prison now anyway. So I don't know, I'm struggling to see the difference. I think one of my biggest issues, it's not just the time, it's the energy, it's the amount of screen time I have to do during the week, and then trying to force yourself to do more screen time. It's almost a subtle form of torture, especially if you're an active person. I don't enjoy sitting around, but I have to spend most of my week sitting around. It's not easy. So I guess my point here is if you want to get a lot of writing done or you plan to do a lot of writing in your life, don't get a desk job, get a physical job. And then by the end of the day, you might not so much mind sitting down in front of a computer. So right now, I'm writing and editing all day. stopping for dinner and to deal with the nighttime routine and all that jazz. And then on the nights when I can bring myself to do it, I'm sitting down at probably 10 p.m. to squeeze another 2 hours of writing out of the day. And it's just, it's mentally draining. With that said, it's not all bad. The nature of the job that I do, I've learned so much that has improved my writing and definitely my editing as well. So it's like, it's not an issue with the job itself. I think it's an issue with modern life where you need to work full time to pay the bills, essentially. And it's kind of hard when you want to do these other things like write books and create content that could make money down the track, but it's not now. So there's just no room for it. So aside from praying for another public holiday to manifest out of nowhere, the way I'm getting writing done at the moment is I'm sacrificing a bit of sleep, essentially. Like today, I was up at 4 a.m. Even now, trying to record this video, I had a movie on for the kids that usually buys me about an hour and a half if all goes well. But the 3-year-old just ran into the bookcase, so I had to stop recording and help him out. He's fine. He's happy now. All good. So talking to other authors as well, it seems like this is just such a common problem for anyone who's working full time, and especially if they have kids or other commitments, hobbies, whatever it might be, anything else that's going to take their time. It's like, how do you find the time to write? And one thing I could have done is just stopped doing this YouTube channel, and that would have bought me, like half a day minimum every week to write. But at the same time, it's like, if you are going to release a book at some point, you need some type of following, whether that's on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, whatever the kids are doing these days. And for me, it's not about making money from a book. When I release this one, I'll put it out for free in some form. I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. That's a bit later down the track, but I do want people to read it. So I think the hardest thing for me is definitely been the lack of sleep. Like I said, I was up at 4 a.m. today I thought it was later, but about 10:30, I was playing Spidey Friends with one of the kids and I was almost passing out. But I've had some more coffee since then and I'm somewhat alert, as you can see. I think for me, it's just one of those situations where I'm going to have to brute force my way through it. Like, we're nearly at the end of the year. I do get a Christmas break, but I'm just going to have to force my way through these next few months on minimal sleep and hopefully have something close to a first draft in my hand at that point. I think the trick is to find some sort of balance where I'm not burning myself out, like the screen fatigue. Working in front of a screen 5 days a week, spending another day doing YouTube, and then whatever time I can snatch for writing, it's too much. It's not sustainable long term. I just need to find that balance where I'm being productive but not burning myself out. Or maybe it'll be hilarious if I burn myself out while documenting my descent into ruin. Quality entertainment there. Anyway, I would love to hear what other people do who are in similar situations to mine to get their writing done. I mean, sacrificing sleep is never ideal in any situation, but another thing my buddy Tom said, it's like these days there are no good options, just options. So please, if you have any tips or writing hacks that don't involve going to jail or neglecting my family, I'd love to hear them. All right, let's end on a positive, because I did get a good amount of writing done this week. And I did have the word count in front of me. It's back. Here we go. What was last week? I think I was around 6,000, over 6,000. This week, my word count has almost doubled to 11,126 words. Yeah, big win there. Serious momentum now. Let's see if I can keep it up. Tune in next week to see if I do. Tune in? Do you tune in to YouTube? I don't think so. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. If you didn't enjoy this video, hit subscribe anyway and hate watch my content. That's always fun.